What's up, everybody? Thanks for watching today, baby. All right, guys, so my old Durango here got some rust, as you can see. Most of the truck is very clean except for this part, so I'm just gonna try to use some product that I have just sitting at home and see if I can make this look better. I'm just gonna sand this down, sand all this down. I've already touched this up, as you can see. This whole thing was all rust before. I just sprayed over it to make it look a little bit better temporarily. So I'm gonna sand this all down, probably all to here, throw in some Bondo, and just kind of try to make this smooth, a little bit smoother, and then I'll just slap some new spray paint on there, try to make this from getting much worse than it is. We'll see how it goes, and I want to try to make this quick. Obviously not perfect. This is just a cheap beater vehicle, so let's see what happens. All right, step one, I put some masking tape on. I didn't want to mess up the bumper, just kind of wanted to keep that separate. I hit it with some sandpaper. It's kind of where we're sitting as of now. It's looking real rough right about now. Let's see what happens next. So next I'm going to, what are we gonna do? Just clean this up a little bit. Wipe it all down, blow it off, use some acetone to make sure there's nothing stuck on here, and then I'm gonna throw on some Bondo, see what happens. I'm doing this very quick. This is like 5 minutes in so far. All right, you barely have any time, like a couple minutes before this stuff starts hardening up. So got it vacuumed up, wiped up with acetone. I'm gonna attempt to kick some of this stuff on here, see how it goes. Rookie stuff right here, guys. Okay, so I'm gonna get off of here so I don't miss. Sorry, I can't multitask and do both at the same time, but this is how I'm doing it. All right, so I just got done putting about 2 coats on. So I use this as like a barrier to put underneath to kind of help me like form the line on the bottom. And then right as it was about dried, I would go across it with a razor blade just to kind of try to make first of all, to get this unstuck, but to try to make a somewhat straight line across. So that's where we're at, guys. Looking real ugly right there, but we'll see what happens. Let this dry for a half hour, then I'll sand it up some. All right, just put a third little coat. We're gonna let this dry for a while, and then I'm just gonna do a quick touch up, and then tomorrow I'll throw some rattle can on here, see how it looks. All right, so I'm not sure if you guys could tell before, but there was like some rust residue that was on the bumper. I used a magic eraser and some water, and that kind of came right off. So that part of the bumper is good now. I'm gonna use my little Black & Decker mouse sander. I think there's 220 grit on there. I'm gonna just kind of try to shape this as good as I can, and then hit it with some primer and then some paint. I just got a rattle can mixed to match the color, so we'll see how this turns out. All right, guys, here we are. I'm gonna throw some primer on here. A little trick I just learned recently is take a couple pieces of paper and put tape on the upper inner part of it. So what this does basically is, as you're spraying this, so you're not gonna have a straight tape line, it's gonna kind of go up in there, and as you're spraying it from here, the overspray is just gonna kind of gently go up in there, right? That way you're not gonna have a tape line like I will have right here. Now this is on a crease, so I'm not too worried about it right here. Whether if it's on an open panel like this, you're gonna notice the tape line a lot more than you would if you do it this way. So kind of a little jerry rig, but as I spray it from here, it should just let some of the overspray go up in there, and then I can try to blend it in a little bit easier on this panel. And then obviously I don't want any paint to get on the bumper, and I don't want any to be on this rear panel either. So just trying to hit this little area right here. I'm gonna throw a couple shots of primer on here and see what happens. I can already tell there's gonna be a couple flaws in it. This is the worst one right here. I have no idea how good or bad this is going to turn out, but hopefully it doesn't look worse than it does when we started. So I'm going to throw some regular primer on here now. We'll probably do 2 coats of this, and then I might wet sand that depending on how crappy it looks, and we'll go from there. All right, I think this is like crappy primer, so I'm just going to do really light coats. I'm going to start down here. Not even primer yet. There we go. Okay. Now I'm trying to stay at this angle so I'm not painting up under to try to go up in there. I'm just using those little white walls to kind of let a little bit of the stuff go underneath. It's hard to explain, guys. You know what I mean, though. Just doing little tiny bits at a time. God, it seems to be drying so freaking fast. Yep, I can already see that flaw. That's fine though. I don't want it to be perfect. I'm not worried about that. Now, ideally, you probably would want to use a filler primer because that could help with like filling in little goof ups like that. But I'm gonna let that dry for a few minutes and I'll throw a little bit more on. You can use like a hair dryer to heat this up and speed up the process, but primer usually dries really quick, so that's where we're at so far, guys. All right, here we go, guys. I just let that dry for about 10 minutes. I did a little spray spot here just to kind of make sure the color looks right, and it does, as you can see right there. I've got this mixed up. You can get this, go to any paint shop and they can mix up the right color for your vehicle. All right, let's see how this works. Light coats, guys, very light. You can see the metal flake falling out of the sky. A little dust. Ooh. You can like see these little sprinkles. The flake is just coming right out. Pretty cool. I might need to get some ventilation going in here though. All right, first coat, we'll let that dry for about 10 minutes or so. And we'll do another coat. All right, let's go for a second light coat here. I've got some ventilation going here in my ragtag paint booth. Okay, there's the second coat. Let that dry for 10 minutes. Third coat, here we go. All right, I think I'm gonna do one more coat of paint and then maybe clear. We'll see how it goes. All right, this stuff is drying so freaking fast. Here goes the fourth coat, guys. This will probably be the last one. Whew. Got some fumes. This paint seems really like it will not, does not seem like it would drip. All right, that'll probably do it. I cannot believe how fast this dries. This is literally 5 minutes and it's fully dry, guys. All right, let's see what happens. All right, we've got some clear coat here. First coat, clear coat. Seems like this is going on heavier. Let that dry for 10 minutes and then do probably a second or a third coat and call it good. Second clear coat. All right, let that dry for 10 minutes and then I'll do one last coat of clear coat. All right, third and last little bit of clear coat. That light is hot. All right, we'll call that good. And I'm gonna let this dry for a day. I'll peel this off in just a second here. All right, taking off the junk here. Very hard to do this with one hand. You can see how I had the papers taped up to get that rounding effect. Okay. Okay, so that's where we're at for now. That is not too bad, just right off the rip. You can clearly see the spray line, but I'm going to, after about a day or so, sorry, it's kind of hard to see with this light. After a day, just about dropped my phone. After about a day, I'm gonna go ahead and wet sand that, and that should blend that line. So let me pull this out in the sun, out in the normal light, so you can see a little bit better here. But hey, so far, I don't see a big rust pile, so already looking good. All right, so I got it out of the garage. So that's kind of what it looks like right now, guys. You can see as long as I can blend this and get this sanded down, that looks a lot better than it did. Yeah, other than that faded mark right here, you can feel how rough it is too, and that should wet sand. I should be able to wet sand that right down. The car's dirty as well. That's a lot of dust and stuff. I did obviously wipe all this down before I did that, but yeah, it's not perfect, guys, but it's not a big clunk of rust anymore, so it shouldn't be getting any worse. I just wanted to do this quick, but I'll show you guys the finished result after I get this, after I work on that fade mark. I'll work on this tomorrow or the next day, get that off, and then we'll see how it looks in the end. All right, so I've just got a little bit of acetone on a rag here, and it's kind of just wiping this. I'm pushing very gently because I know that it can take off the stuff we just put. So this is very like rough overspray stuff right here. So I'm just barely pushing light on this, so we don't want to mess up the actual good paint. So let's see. So far I haven't done any wet sanding of any type. I'm just trying to blend this in a little bit. Alright, I'm going to continue. I need to get this wet again. I'm going to get this wet and keep going and see what happens. Alright guys, that's going to be it for now. Like I said, not perfect, but I didn't want to spend a lot of time on it either. So, I mean, from here, it's good to go. Up close, you can see a little bit of like the line right there. I should probably do some wet sanding right there on the line where you can see it. But honestly, I'm just gonna leave it. Not bad for a couple hours worth of work for a rookie. Tell me what I did wrong, guys, or what you guys could do better.